Hello, hello, hello. It is Karma Eve. I am out here. I wanted to do something a little different for chocolate cocaine. About a week ago, I posted about Wayne Bay. He is what I call an energy healer, also known as a spiritualist or spiritual healer. And I posted, if you go back to chocolate, which is chocolate, a little dash, cocaine.com, you'll see his story, what he does, how long he's been doing it. You'll learn a little bit about him. But I also wanted to include originally a write-up about my experience with Wayne. So instead of doing the write-up, I think I'm gonna just go with this and see how this goes, and yeah, hopefully it's good. So originally, a girlfriend of mine, as I explained in the post on chocolate cocaine, originally a girlfriend of mine contacted me, and she was telling me, hey, I think I have somebody that your readers would love to hear about. His name is Wayne Bay, and he's an energy healer. And I'm not going to get into everything because I would prefer that you go and read the interview with Wayne. So she's like, yeah, you need to reach out to him and contact him. He's not only good, I think a good feature for chocolate cocaine, but I think you would enjoy having his services. And so I thought, okay, so I hear her story. I'm not going to tell her story here because hopefully one day, she knows who she is and she's watching this. Hopefully one day she'll be willing to tell her own story. I don't want to tell about her experience. And plus, I don't want to tell about her experience because each experience is different. It's for each person to have their own experience with Wayne. So anyway, I reach out to Wayne, contact him, and I tell him, you know, because of what you do, usually I'm asking you a ton of questions. But because of what you do, it's going to be hard getting these questions going. So he said, I suggest that you make an appointment with me first and then go with the questions from there. Man, I agree to it. And let me tell you, I know 2020 has been hell, havoc. I told somebody 2020, if it was a drink, it would be spoiled milk. Just when you thought you was going to get you some chocolate chip cookies and a cold glass of milk, glump, 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 that. I said if 2020 was a food, it would be cottage cheese. Ugh. Throw up cottage cheese. But 2020 is wreaked havoc on everyone, me included. I've been telling people about my 2020. In January, I had like a 3-day flu. It was about 3 days I was out with the flu. February, I was out 8 days from work with, they said it was a B strand flu, but it had all of the symptoms like of the COVID-19 thing. So I don't know, because back in February we weren't testing. March 3rd, a tornado hit my neighborhood. Literally, I look out the window and I see all of this. So 2020 has not been the best year, but you know what? We're going to make it good. We're going to make it better. So I make this appointment with Wayne, and like I said, I was just so overwhelmed emotionally because of everything that I had gone through. Then you have to also remember, I do work, and all of a sudden I'm not working because we're on furlough. So it was just a lot, and I just thought this would be the perfect time to get with Wayne and to clear up my energy and to kind of move forward. I have been getting kind of down in the dumps. We couldn't go out. I mean, it was just, you know how 2020's been. So I get with him, we make an appointment, and the day of the appointment is when I think everything just came together for me. So he comes over to my home because he's mobile, so he will come to you. He came over to the house. He had his table. He has a massage table. He set that up, kind of set the mood. We talked for a little bit, and then it was time for me to get onto the table. Now, keep in mind, I had already talked to my girlfriend, Key, And Key had told me about her experience. But when I hopped on that table, and even prior to that, I was determined to not have any expectations, meaning I wasn't going to try to compare my appointment with what happened at her appointment, what she experienced. And so when I hopped up on that table, I'm like clear mind. I'm just ready for something to happen for me. Wayne then begins to do his work. He does give me a few rules in the beginning. I'm not going to tell you all of them, but one of the rules is if I wanted to ask any questions, if I wanted to stop for any reason, I needed to raise my hand and to let him know, and that would be a signal. And I'm telling you that for a reason. So we get this session started. I'm laying there, like I said, my mind is clear, so I'm not trying to say, ooh, Key said this would happen and Key said that would happen. Now what my mind isn't clear of are a lot of questions, because I begin to think like, what if nothing happens? What if he figures out there's like some bad energy on me, you know? Yeah, I actually thought that. Like, what if he sees this black cloud within me or something and I'm not right, and that's why everything has been happening to me. But finally, I settle myself because he's talking to me and he's telling me to take deep breaths. He's telling me to let them out and to sigh. So I am now like, okay, focus, Kay. You got this. Just focus. So I focus. And within a few moments, I start feeling my body heat up. Not a bad heat, don't get me wrong, but I just start feeling my body heat up. And as time went on, I'll tell you about some of the things I experienced with him. The first thing that I experienced was, and we talked about it, that he had said that there may be some emotions that come out. So I didn't know which emotions. You know, we're human. There are so many emotions within us. And I found myself, I was laying on my back, and I found myself, I could feel slowly my tears coming out, but I didn't think that I was crying. And apparently at some point I must have started crying because I could feel him wipe my face a little bit, wipe the tears from my face. Now when you're with him, it's strange. You're like, I want to say in a gray area where you're conscious and you know everything that's going on, but you're at a higher level. You're at a higher vibrational level. So it's kind of like you're unconscious, but you're still here, but you're above, you're higher up. And so that's where I was in this moment. So all of a sudden I'm crying, and I'll be honest, because you know I try not to hide anything from you guys, and I want you to feel comfortable, and I want you to be able to have open mind whenever you read my blog or whenever you talk to me, whenever you see me in person. People have trusted me with a lot of their personal information, so I want to always keep that communication open. So when I started the crying, and my mind finally like snaps back together, I'm thinking of things where like abandonment issues, you know, like from my father, because my father, he was never a part of my life. I'm thinking of things that went on in my life, and it's like all of a sudden hitting me, you know. So I'm good. I kind of get back on track a little bit. Not that I stopped myself, but all of a sudden I didn't feel sad anymore. Next thing you know, I am laughing, like uncontrollably laughing. And I'm telling him, because you can still speak. You're not unconscious. You're not close to death. You know, it's nothing negative. But I'm telling him this is crazy, because all of a sudden I feel this surge of peace and happiness and giddiness, and I just can't stop laughing. So I'm laughing with him, and I'm laughing. And then all of a sudden, I look to my right and I see this beautiful, I mean, she was absolutely amazing. This beautiful, dark complected black woman. And she is wearing a yellow halter dress. And she's in this field of flowers. And I can feel that she's free. Like, she just has this sense of freedom about her. And I look and I tell Wayne, I'm like, oh my God, there's this beautiful black woman here. And he's laughing because he's like, that's you. But I just keep telling him, I see this beautiful black woman. And he just keeps saying, that's you. So I don't know. I don't know if I, at that point in time, I can't remember if I ever let that sink in, but I do remember circling my heart and saying to him, she lives right here. So apparently that was like me seeing me. And then it's strange because seeing that setting and seeing her and her being out in flowers, that is like my thing. I've always wanted to be like out in this field of flowers and on this nice summer day and just be out there and be meditating and just being free, so to speak. So yeah, I can see that being me. Throughout the session that we were having, some other things were happening. Because it was tantric, you also have a lot of orgasms. I have children coming. We're gonna wait.
Wait, what? Over there?
So, of course, children would come just as soon as I talk about the tantric part of this session. But I continue to have amazing orgasms. I mean, it wasn't because he was touching me inappropriately. I want to make that clear. He was not touching me inappropriately at all. He was not being unprofessional at all. As a matter of fact, Wayne was extremely professional. Wayne was very patient, but that's a part of what happens in this energy exchange. So we had that going on. Remember, I had the crying, then I had the laughter, then I'm seeing myself, a piece of myself. And keep in mind, he had told me, like, if you want to stop the session for any reason, just raise your hand. So I have my left hand up, but I have it out like this. And he stops, and he then asked me, he said, do you need me to stop? And I remember saying no. And he said, well, your hand is up. Why is your hand out? I just felt this presence of somebody holding my hand. I just felt like somebody was there just holding my hand and going along with me on this session. And then all of a sudden I remember telling him, oh my God, it's my grandmother. I see my grandmother. Mind you, my grandmother passed away like maybe 4 years ago. And so, and she wasn't in my house. I mean, you know, she wasn't in the house when the session started. So, but I could clearly see her. And then I just thought, oh my goodness, my grandmother's here, but I could feel the presence of my other ancestors as well. And at one point I was able to kind of look out and up, and I could see all these brown faces, and I just knew they were my ancestors. I knew it. And something then began, I don't know if it was, I don't know how it was communicating to me, but I was getting the message that I'm surrounded by women. Like, it's nothing but powerful women around me. And so my grandmother, her mother, you know, her grandmother, her great-grandmother, they were there. And I know it. I know this may sound strange to some people, but it happened. So, a little while later, and I can't tell you the time on it, like, oh, like 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later, but I know during this session, something came over me, and it made me realize, and I could hear it saying, you have a band of angels around you. And I was like, what? And I could look back and actually see all of these guardian angels just standing there. And it was just so, I can't even tell you, it was a humbling experience. I can't even begin to describe in words. That's why this was going to be hard for me to put in words for the blog, because there's no way I could describe this in words. it was just so amazing. And the feeling that was going through me, this energy, and I could feel this sense of love and power around me. I could feel this sense of feminine power around me and all of these women, and to know that I'm loved and protected on the other side. It was so hard to like take all that in, because I got this beautiful black woman over here, I got the angels behind me, I had my grandmother and her, you know, female relatives here, I had my ancestors up top, and then I'm orgasming and I'm laughing, and it was just a lot, but it was a good lot, if that makes sense. It was all really good. There were things that he was doing where he was chanting over me, speaking over me. He would do light touches with me. At one point, there were times when I was trying to, I guess through my throat chakra and it coming through my mouth, I was trying to cough up some negative energy that I had within me. I did let him know there was a particular person that used to be in my life that I needed to release, and it was like no sooner than I said that, I began to cough and sputter and try to get this out of me, this person's energy out of me. And so it was a very eye-opening moment. It was a life-changing moment. It was something that I did not expect, because remember, I went into this with no expectations regardless of what I heard. And it was something that I am definitely going to do again. So to bring this all to a close, like I said, I'm trying this out for the first time. I'm, you know, wanting you guys to hear about this experience instead of read about it, because it was just so phenomenal. Like, seriously, I felt completely different afterwards. It took me some time to catch my breath at some point in time, and especially at the end, because it was just so much work. And we worked together. He worked on me in a session for about 2 hours. So that's a lot of work. But I wanted to come through, tell you about my experience. If you have any questions, and maybe I wasn't clear on something and you would like me to expand a little bit more, please feel free, reach out, karmaeve@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out the blog. Check out Wayne. Check out his story first. You're going to have to read his story, so check out his story first, and then come back and watch this. And if you have questions, or if you need to reach out to him, there's some contact information that will be available for Wayne. But you can always go to chocolate-cocaine.com, chocolate-cocaine.com. But I just wanted to come through, tell you about my experience. It's a great day here in Nashville. It's beautiful. We have beautiful white clouds. There are children playing in the park now. But I just wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to tell you about my experience. And really and honestly, words can't describe the experience that I had with him. And so I am going to probably be seeing him in a few weeks. I'm, you know, still trying to come down off this high, because it does take about 14 to 21 days for you to come back down. And yeah, so that's where I am. If you have any questions, like I said, reach out. The baby's over here playing, so I'm gonna bring this to an end. Thank you so much for your support of Chocolate Cocaine. I'm